cat's here today. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Bann. Today's brew is Great Value Chocolate Caramel Nut. And today's topic, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. And also Fire Red and Leaf Green probably, because, it's all Kanto. But not Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because I haven't really played enough of Pikachu and Eevee to have an opinion on it. Bit bitter. Yeah, it's great value. It's definitely great value. So, the Gen 1 games are something that I have not had that much experience with until recently. Back when I was but a little boy in, 4th grade or something, I got a copy of Leaf Green through means. But I did not have an actual copy of a Gen 1 game until several years later. Not until probably 2018 or so? Or 2019? When on the family 2DS, I had a little bit of money. And so I decided it was the best time to... Wait, no, not 2019. Actually, no, it probably would have been 2017. Yeah, it would have been 2017. I decided it was the best time to buy myself a copy of Pokemon Yellow on the 3DS eShop. And I enjoyed it. It was fine. And then I lost the, A, I lost the game, and so did you. And B, I lost the 2DS. I brought it to school, and on my way home I noticed it was no longer in my pocket. That was disappointing. Wasn't it, Macbeth? Disappointing, buddy? He says yes. But I did get a 3DS from a friend, and I managed to transfer the account using Nintendo customer service. And so, yeah, I got Pokemon Yellow back. I played through a decent bit of it, probably got about 5 badges in. And then the save corrupted. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. Just corrupted. I wasn't even trying to do a cloning glitch or something. It just did not... It stopped. It was like, save data's corrupted. Sorry, buddy. Restart. And I restarted and did not get very far at all the next time. But then the time after that, I decided, I'm gonna retry it. And I started again, and I played through again, and then I also did not get very far. Probably 3 badges in, tops. And, that's about where I am today with Pokemon Yellow. But, I did get Pokemon Blue on the eShop. You know, just before it closed. And I didn't really play it much until just recently. Which is to say, within the last month. And I beat that sucker. So enough of my history of the game. Apart from getting this copy in exchange for replacing the save batteries in a bunch of other... Hold on. Huh. I got this copy of Pokemon Red in exchange for saving the batteries of a bunch of other copies of Pokemon games. Anyway. Right, so, the game itself, it's fairly fun, but you can definitely tell that it's the first game in the series. It has some issues that newer games would iron out, but, that's to be expected. Their first romp. Well, sort of. It's kind of their second romp. I mean, in some ways, it's their... Okay, so, initially, it releases Pokemon Red and Green in Japan, and that had a lot of glitches and such, because, you know, it was a passion project, basically, with a very small team making games on the Game Boy. Then they released Pokemon Blue in Japan, which was an upgraded version with new graphics and fewer glitches? Still a lot of glitches, don't get me wrong, it is still Gen 1, but, like, fewer. It was less difficult to be. And then, what was Pokemon Blue over there got localized over here as Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. And, then we got Pokemon Yellow in both regions, which was... It took Red and Blue and gave it a little bit more of the plot of the anime, and made it so that you had to have a Pikachu as your starter, and, wasn't bad. It was, definitely different. I will say it was different, but, like, wasn't really bad. So, okay. And I guess now would be a good time to start talking about the Kanto region, which is named after a real region in Japan, but, like, it doesn't really share any similarities. And then with the next games, they stopped doing that. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 98% sure. But, okay. Getting off track. Kanto region, fairly cool. Surprisingly non-linear. Like, once you've gotten the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 badges, you can get the rest in nearly whatever order you want. I mean, you do have to get number 5 before number 7. But, well, no, I don't know. The only real restriction is number 8 has to be last. Giovanni's. The Earth badge has to be last. And you have to get Koga's badge before you get Blaine's badge. Other than that, I don't know. That's actually a couple big restrictions. But, like, it was less linear than I would have expected. Because normally with Pokemon games, I expect to have to get badges in one set order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But hey, it's pretty neat. Now, one thing I will say about the first generation Pokemon games, like the real, genuine, actual first gen, not Fire Red and Leaf Green, there is so little to do once you've beaten the game. There's the catch 'em all, and there's get Mewtwo. And other than that, there's really nothing. You can't re-battle trainers, there's no, like, battle facility or anything. I guess you can, like, battle with friends, but if you're alone, there's nothing more to do once you beat the Elite Four. You can still travel around, see if there are any trainers you haven't beaten, but, like, it's kind of sad. Fire Red and Leaf Green did fix this issue with the Sevi Isles. Sevi Island? Sevi Isle? I don't remember. Just new post-game content. It's pretty cool. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I have no idea about. I still need to beat it. Now, far as the Pokemon in Gen 1 go, obviously they're all iconic, right? Or most of them are. I don't know. Something like Electabuzz, I'm probably not going to remember that much until I see it. Oh, right, the sprites of Gen 1. So, in Pokemon Red and Green, the sprites were bonkers. Mew looks like a... Mew looks like this. They looked so weird, especially if you're used to the modern Pokemon designs. Pokemon. And then in Blue, / our American versions of Red and Blue, they redesigned every Pokemon. And a lot of them are closer, a couple of them are further away. And then, in Yellow, they redesigned them again, but only the front sprites, not the back sprites. Back sprites still look weird. Front sprites actually look pretty close to what we've got now. And then in the Pokemon Yellow Virtual Console release on 3DS, they had to change Jinx's sprite because it was offensive. Okay. So, you know, obviously by Fire Red and Leaf Green, they ironed out all of that, and they pretty much just have exactly the designs they have now. I think that with Red and Blue, they designed the sprites first and then made artwork of them. I could be wrong, or Red and Green, I guess. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember hearing that at some point. Also, sticking true to the game's names, every town in Kanto is named after a color. You know, Palette Town is just palette, like, all of the colors that are used. Viridian City, the Indigo Plateau, Pewter City, which is, you know, gray, because rock, pewter, you get it. Cerulean City, Fuchsia City, which, by the way, try spelling fuchsia if you don't know. That one is... Everyone says, try spelling yacht. Try spelling fuchsia. But yeah, they're all named after different colors. Vermilion City, and said colors are... I appreciate the fact that it's not just like Red Town, Blue City, Yellowville. Actually, oh man, I don't think there's a single Pokemon town that ends in Ville. Oh, you looking to go out now, Cat? You looking to go out, Beth? That's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to look into that. Okay, right. Like, choosing other colors, other than just, like, the basic red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, brown, pink, gray. I appreciate that. Oh, right, also, something really cool, do you know the Super Game Boy? If you do, congrats. I'm not that surprised. If you don't, it's an adapter that allows you to play your Game Boy games on a Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo. Speaking is hard. Now, what's neat about this is, on an original Game Boy, Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow obviously are going to be, you know, varying shades of green or black and white, depending on what model of Game Boy you have. But if you plug it into a Super Game Boy, you actually get some limited color. They have specific palettes programmed in, so it'll, like, change colors based on what town you're in. And I think that's pretty neat. That is a clever use of the Super Game Boy. And I don't really remember, if that happens with the Game Boy Color. I can... Hey, buddy. I can check. I'm not far enough in Pokemon Red to do that. I am at the very beginning, so I'm going to use my EverDrive. I'm 99% certain this is a fake copy of Pokemon Red. And I know for a fact it had a Phillips head screw in it, and that was how I was immediately able to tell it was fake, other than the whole cheap plastic. But, like, currently it's got a tri-wing screw in it, and I don't know how that happened. I feel real silly right now. This thing always had a tri-wing screw in it. I knew it was fake because it had a tri-wing instead of a game bit. It never had a Phillips head screw. My EverDrive has a Phillips head screw, and that's where I was getting mixed up. Yeah, okay. Game Boy Color doesn't seem to do it. That's unfortunate. Would have been nice. Wonder if the Game Boy Advance would, though. That's... Game Boy Advance is probably just running a Game Boy Color internally. Same way a DS just has a Game Boy Advance in it. Okay, so... Pokemon Red and Blue... Oh, right, so... The whole gimmick with Red and Blue is the whole gotta catch 'em all thing. This is definitely too small and too low resolution for you to read it like this. I'll put it up. But, which meant you did have to trade. But the great thing is, you only had to trade with one other game. And that was nice. That was very nice. I appreciated that so very, very much. And then Pokemon Yellow happened. And Pokemon Yellow did not have all of the Pokemon of either game. So, no matter what, if you wanted to catch them all, you had to trade with someone who had Pokemon Red and someone who had Pokemon Blue. And that is horse malarkey. That there is just rude. And of course, you couldn't get every Pokemon anyway past a certain point because, Mew. Mew was a mythical Pokemon that only existed by event. And, that event is very gone and cannot be restored in any vaguely official capacity. Unless, you know, Nintendo themselves did it. Like, okay, so, with the DS Pokemon games, you've got these distribution carts, right? That you just put them into a DS, and they put out the event Pokemon through wireless, whatever. And they can still work past the date that they were supposed to if you just set the DS clock back to the date that they were supposed to work in. So, because some people have these cartridges, they can, in fact, semi-officially get these events. With Pokemon Red and Blue, they didn't do it that way. The way you got Mew was basically just, you just trade for Mew with a store employee during the event, or just send in your copy of Pokemon, and they save edit your game so that it has Mew. That was certainly a choice that they made. And it's the reason that there are 151 Pokemon and not 150. You know, kind of interesting how Pikachu, nobody really cared about Pikachu until the anime came out. That's when Pikachu became a mascot. But, like, initially, it was just a somewhat rare encounter in Viridian Forest. Had an evolution. People would usually use that evolution. I know I did. Until I got Zapdos. But, yeah, Pikachu wasn't really a mascot Pokemon until the anime. Oh yeah, and Pikachu was fat. Pikachu used to be fat, and now it's slender. I don't know why I said it like that. But, yeah, Pikachu... I like Pikachu, don't get me wrong. Did I even say anything that... Am I gonna say anything that implies that I don't? No, I like Pikachu. I like it just fine. It's not my favorite Pokemon. Definitely not. That would be Swampert, but that doesn't exist yet, so, you know. I don't know what my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon is. I like Fearow. Fearow's pretty neat. Obvious answer is Charizard or Pikachu or, like, Mewtwo. But, I don't think any of those would be my favorite. I don't think it's any of the starters. I don't think about Gen 1 Pokemon that much, honestly. Gyarados is pretty cool. Love Gyarados. And Magikarp and Gyarados are the only Pokemon, if I recall correctly, that have been available in every single generation now. I could be wrong about that, but, like, I'm pretty sure. Which is interesting, because, like, you'd expect it to be Pikachu, but no, Pikachu hasn't been available in every single one. But Magikarp? Magikarp's the basic fish. All of them have the fishing rod. You're always gonna get Magikarp. My coffee's gone cold. Just wanted to give my cat a little pet. What is my favorite? Though, I might need to look up Gen 1 Pokemon. Because, like, again, I don't really think of them that much. Ugh. I can't Google search on this. Do I have... I've got a laptop, I can look on that. Maybe, assuming it doesn't freaking blue screen again. Now, what was the reason my sister gave it to me? Because it was blue screening. Yeah. Okay, actually, Nidoking is a strong contender. I do love me some Nidoking. Love you, Kangan. Oh yeah, Bellsprout was Gen 1. I always think of it as Gen 2. Because it was available early on in the game. Geodude's pretty great. Okay, no, I know what my favorite is. Jolteon. Oh, wow. Yeah, my coffee's gotten rather cold. Deeply unfortunate. Anyway, Jolteon is my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. I don't know. It's also my favorite evolution. Second favorite has to be Nidoking. Anyway, I am now out of coffee. So, that's going to... that's going to be it for this. Wait, that's not how I end these. Moral of the story is, Pokemon Yellow. Pokemon Yellow is the moral of the story. And that has been Coffee with Bann.